You are listening to episode 156 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tienel. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Well, hello there, beautiful mamas. I'm so glad that you've chosen to join me today, especially on this particular important topic of not wasting time, right? We're busy moms, and we have lots of things going on and a limited amount of time and energy. So I can't wait to dive in and let you a little bit in on an episode that is going to be about a subject around a course that I'm working on. So I wanted to invite you before we start to let you know that I will have a time management course coming out. And if you want to learn about how you can get a hold of it or be a part of it, make sure you are on my email list. This is where I let you know what are all things going on with Danielle Tienel coaching. And you can do that. Just go to the website. You can download one of my free offerings, which are amazing anyway, and that will automatically get you onto my email list. I also want to do another plug to you all with an ask to say that it makes such a difference that when you follow my podcast and if you rate and review it. So I want to invite you that if you have felt benefit from listening to me here, if you would take a few moments to just go ahead and leave a review, hopefully a 5-star review. Just your engagement matters, and it helps other people become exposed and urge them to start listening to this life-changing work as well. And lastly, also, if you're on any type of social media platform, go ahead and repost something that you have about the episode that you've learned, or tag me, share the favorite episodes with friends, and just tag me at Danielle Tienel Coaching, and I'll be sure to reciprocate and put you back on to my platform as well. So thanks in advance for that. Okay, how many of you, and this is a little bit of a rhetorical question because I already know the answer, have the thought that you are wasting time? My clients come to me all the time onto themselves that they know what they, quote, should be doing, but they're not. And I want to offer you today what I'm just going to bring some consciousness around how you are spending your time. And I have around 10 kind of items that I want you to just be more aware about in your life if that you fall into, I was going to say trap, but I am naming these time bombs. Okay. They are the obstacles to you using your time in the way you want for what matters to you. And so when you hear the list, we're not all, great at all of them, but we also are good at some of them. So just take like the main one or two that you think is, quote, your obstacle to using the time you want. Which of these time bombs can you identify as sabotaging your time and how you're spending it? And then see if you can just bring more awareness about it and make some shifts and just be on to yourself so that you can make better decisions for you about your time. Okay, so, and just know too, I am going to be diving deeper into all of these into when I have my course out. And so you can also get my personal help with all of these, applying them to your life and your life circumstances. But let's just see what I can give you if you can just bring more consciousness about them in your life. So, number one, procrastination. Procrastination is a giant time bomb. And we know that when we are procrastinating, it is because we are avoiding doing something that we are believing is going to be hard, difficult, painful, uncomfortable, bring us some kind of negative, emotion that we would have to feel while we are attaining and doing the action that we want to. We procrastinate. This is an action because haven't tapped into the right feeling. Our feelings drive our actions. So if we are having the action of procrastinating, we just aren't feeling great or feeling a feeling that is actually going to propel us into that action. So are you a procrastinator? Just make note from this list. Yes, procrastination is one of my time bombs. Okay, good to know. This is something that you're going to want to have a deeper awareness around. Okay, number two, indecision. Time bomb number two, indecision. So much of our time is wasted when we keep ourselves staying in indecision. We don't know, should we do this or should we do that? But while you're in indecision, guess what's happening? Time is ticking. It's continuing to go by. And then we have these thoughts that we're wasting our time. But it's literally because you're catching yourself, you're stuck, you're confused, and you're not picking an answer. You're not deciding. So are you an indecisive person? Is it having you not use your time as wisely as you want to? Again, good to know, make note. This is something that I struggle with, or no, I'm a pretty good decision maker. I've got that skill that I just pick and go. Third time bomb, distractions. And I actually have, it's kind of like a slash. I wasn't sure exactly what to call it. Distractions, interruptions, sidetrackers. And what I see these are is that when we, like from our higher brain, from our prefrontal cortex, when we take charge of our life and we're the boss of our brain and we decide, this is what I'm going to do with my time. Think about how you might do your schedule for the rest of the week, like maybe on Sunday night, and you lay it all out. This is coming from your higher brain. This is coming from that take charge of my life. This is how I want to live out the rest of the week, and this is how I'm going to plan my time. However, big time bombs are distractions, interruptions, and what I call sidetrackers. And it's literally those things that you didn't plan for, that you didn't seek, circumstances that arise. And we name them distractions or interruptions if we allow them to pull our focus and our time and our energy off of what we had originally planned for ourselves. And of course, there are some things that will come into our life that we will have wanted to, quote, distract ourselves. If we get a phone call from our child's school and we answer it and they tell us our child is sick, I mean, we don't have to label that as a distraction. It literally was a choice we made to answer that phone because who it was coming from. And we did stop what we originally planned. And we chose consciously that that's something important for us is to answer the phone of the school or go pick up our sick child. But I want you to just ask yourself, are you setting up your environment where you have phone notifications coming through? Are you easily forgetting what you planned to do and are at the whim of like a phone call? Like let's say a girlfriend calls and says, you want to go to lunch now, but you had something else planned. Do we have a kind of boundary set on when we're doing something specific, when we want to let somebody in our family, our children, our spouse know that we're actually going to be spending our time, maybe it's alone time, maybe it's work time, doing a specific something, and we haven't set a boundary so that they can just, come knock on the door, come in and, it's like, Mom, I need you for this. Have we put some boundaries into place that keeps us from being distracted, interrupted, and getting sidetracked? If this is something that you think happens a lot to you, we want to bring some consciousness about it so we can remove this time bomb and to help us not waste our time and to use our time more deliberately. Okay, next time bomb is stress and overwhelm. Now, I know some of you, when you hear this, you can kind of maybe not have thought that this is what can keep you from using your time wisely, but think about it. When we feel stressed, when we are feeling overwhelmed, what do you do? What are some of the actions that you take from feeling stressed and overwhelmed? It's usually kind of triggers another one, like procrastination or indecision. So it will drive us to not use it'll sabotage our time and how we want to use it that is serving and benefit to us. And this feeling stressed and overwhelmed doesn't come from all the things that you have going on in your life. Stress and overwhelm are feelings created by what you are thinking about what's going on in your life. So even just realizing, hey, I'm a little bit feeling stressed today. If you can bring consciousness about that and really kind of explore, what am I thinking that's making me feel stressed? And you want to solve for that problem. And if you solve for that, not being as stressed or overwhelmed anymore, then you're going to get right back up to getting back on track to what you had planned to use your time for. Okay. The fifth time bomb I want to talk about is what I'm calling relaxed deadlines. There are a lot of people, especially around this year when we're talking about goal setting a lot and following through on goals, that we want to avoid having deadlines for something, or we just want to be a little bit like flexible, go with the flow. And I understand that. I understand leaving room for spontaneity. But if you are someone who chronically wastes time, or that is the belief system that you have about yourself, and I'm all about helping you, make the changes in your life that you want to move forward and get better at, if using your time more wisely, I want you to just question, would it be a little bit more beneficial for you to have some more commitment towards hard deadlines instead of relaxed deadlines? Because when we impose a deadline to ourselves, we do that not to add any pressure, but we do it because that's what then brings up for our brain all of the obstacles. What does your brain say when you tell yourself, okay, I have to get this done by Thursday or Thursday afternoon? We know when it's something like super important, or we have to just, fill out a form for school, or your child can't go on the field trip if it's not there by Thursday. We know that what we do is we then focus on it and get it done. But when somebody says, you can hand it in whenever, we're more apt to put it off and to forget about it. And so even if somebody else is not imposing a deadline on you, like your mortgage company isn't saying you have to have this payment in by the 1st, if you imposed more restricted deadlines, harder deadlines for yourself instead of relaxed deadlines, how might that help you just kind of peel away some of these time bombs and things that are having you waste your time and have you becoming more deliberate with your time? The next one I've talked about even on a recent episode is something that I personally used to struggle with a lot more than I do now, thanks to coaching. That is truly a time bomb, is perfectionism. Because when we are somebody who is constantly striving to improve something, make it better, actually just really to perfect it, it takes a lot more time. One thing is that we never can reach that destination of having something be perfect. So imagine if you're just never arriving to that perfect time, or to that perfect place of being done, noticed how much extra time that would take. When I impose the tool that I teach, B-, it literally has me finishing things sooner. So if I'm like, yes, that is done and it's done, good enough, it's done B-, that's about an 80%, then I can be done with it and move on. And so I don't waste any more time trying to perfect it, trying to use my time to go over a means to an end that is just impossible to achieve. And that really works into the next time bomb, because usually perfectionism is also seen with this next one, which is people pleasing. It is definitely a time waster for ourselves when we try and please others in a way where we say yes to them when we really mean no. So if you really don't want to go on said field trip that I just kind of like mentioned earlier as a chaperone, because you wanted to get X, Y, and Z done in your own day, but you said yes to them because you just are kind of people pleasing because someone asked and they said you'd be the perfect chaperone for this particular one and we don't have anyone else and we would really need you. Now, of course, if you want to and your heart is in of service for it, just own that decision for sure. But I'm just giving this example as if you had already planned or wanted to get some certain things done, and then you end up saying yes to things that are asked of you when you really mean no and really wanted to get the other things done. Do you see how that this could then put you in a place where you're going to feel behind or feel like you wasted your time and you didn't, get done what you wanted to get done? The next one, let's see, what number is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th one. So I guess I do have 10 to talk about today. The 8th one is what I'm calling the have to mentality. I have to do this. I have to do that. Be a little bit more aware, mamas, at when your thought patterns think the thought, I have to. Because 9 out of 10 times, or maybe it's 10 out of 10, when I model out for my clients what the thought I have to brings to them, what it creates for them, the feelings, and then what they do, and then the results they get, it is something around the feeling of pressured or heavy. I have to do something. Can you just picture like the kind of humped over shoulders, kind of like, oh, I have to do this? And it is a time bomb because that it will create this feeling of pressure. And when we carry out our lives from a feeling of pressure, we are going to be slower paced. Just from that visual of being heavy and, shoulders slumped over. We aren't going to be enthusiastic and excited and open and willing when we feel pressure. So really be careful about the time bomb of a have to mentality and see if it's really a want to mentality or an I get to or an I choose to mentality. That will help you not waste time, and get going. Okay, number 9 and 10 are like literal, true circumstances. So number 9 I have here is fatigue. What I'm talking about here for time bombs is 2 things: mental fatigue and physical fatigue. It is a real thing. And so I want it to be you to on to yourself, because we know that the actual circumstance of not sleeping or not getting enough sleep that you need will produce fatigue, and these are time bombs. So to solve for it, sometimes we really do want to be honest with ourselves about what we are doing in our life to fill our sleep quota. And of course, moms that listen to this podcast, we're in all different stages of motherhood, but there are, different reasons. I may not have small kids anymore that I have to get up in the middle of the night to feed, but now I have different sleeping patterns and habits because of being in perimenopause. So it's just, you want to know that being fatigued and your sleep schedule and not getting enough sleep is definitely a time bomb. And then I also wanted to address the mental fatigue, because that is the type that's optional. Well, really, not sleeping for a certain amount of time is optional too, but when we are tired, we add this extra mental way of thinking about, I am so tired and there's not enough time and I'm behind and all of that. And it really adds another whole level of fatigue to your life. And the last one that I just want to bring up as being a time bomb, and I've collected all of this list of time bombs from all of the moms that I coach day in and day out. There are patterns, there are similarities. And I'm honing in on these major ones that I see over and over and over again, because not having enough time is such a phrase and deep-rooted thought pattern that I am trying to unwind in moms, but it does run deep. And so the last one I hear often, and that is literally electronics. The circumstance of a phone, when it's like I'm just wasting time scrolling. It is watching TV. It's like I just binge watch Netflix episodes. It is having access to just computers, and with moms that there's the video games that they bring up about their children, but then that also brings on a mental fatigue that they're, spinning in thoughts about their children and how much time they spend on video games. But just electronics in general are, in fact, time bombs. So is that one that is your Achilles heel? You may not find that you are, doing a poor job in all of these. I just wanted to bring them to your attention to know that you have a power over creating as much time as you want in your lives. Because even though time is an actual resource that passes and that we don't get more of, you can believe and feel as if you're creating more time for yourself, because time is a mental construct and we have so much more power of it by how we're thinking about it in our minds. And I wanted to bring to your minds for you to evaluate your lives and to see if these time bombs or a particular one might be where you want to focus on overcoming and just hitting this struggle head on, or letting go of, getting better at, however you want to look at it. So let me just recap the top 10, or the 10 that I've suggested here. And I would love for you to let me know, you can email me directly, You can DM me on the social media platforms. And, I just love to hear your feedback and let me know which one of these that me bring it to your attention today is really one that you fall, prey to and want to kind of overcome and unravel. So here's the time bombs: procrastination, indecision, distractions, interruptions, stress and overwhelm, relaxed deadlines, perfectionism, people-pleasing, the have-to mentality, fatigue, and electronics. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for visiting. Again, I would love a rating and review, a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast. Any kind of social media shares, I just invite you and would appreciate it. And then also don't forget to make sure that you're on my email list and, kind of opening and reading on the regular, because Danielle Teno Coaching has some amazing things that are coming your way this year, including a time management course and a new book. So again, I love you all for being here and thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again next week. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Are you ready to take everything I teach you here and put it to work for your own life? To really learn how to have peace of mind no matter what is happening around you? If so, I'd love to have you as a client. As your coach, this is where you'll get personal and focused time on your own mind using life coaching tools, concepts, and proven life-transforming wisdom, all through a faith-filled lens. To learn more about how we can work together, come on over to danielleteno.com. There, you'll see how to sign up for a free coaching consult and learn how to get started. Until next time, peace be with you always.